Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video we'll be taking a look at the Intercession Squad kill team rules and asking, is this the best kill team to get started with? The new Kill Team Into the Dark is such a great setting, and I'm fully on board now with the Kill Team rules again. So in this video, I thought we could take a look at the free Intercession team rules, because I've been playing them for the past couple of weeks now, and I've had a good few games with them, really enjoyed it, and so I thought this could be something that could really be a good entry point into the game, and perhaps a really good kill team to choose as your first one to play, because I think the rules are quite straightforward. You don't have too many models, you don't need a lot of data cards, and so I think it's going to be an easy one to pick up. So let's get started. We'll go through the free rules that you can download on the Warhammer community site, and then we'll have a little talk about what each of the operatives can do and all the special rules attached to them. If you'd like to grab a copy of the Intercession Squad rules for yourself, then go to the Warhammer community site. I'll put a link in the description below to the article so it's easy to find, and then you can download the PDF, and then maybe you'd like to have it open alongside this video. Before we start going through the rules, I'd like to say a huge thank you to Firestorm Games for sponsoring the channel, and you can pick up your own box of Primaris Intercessors from them. You can save up to 20% on those and all your hobby products, and they've sent me a code to share with you, which will save you an additional 5% on top of that usual 20% saving. So all the details are down below. Follow the link in the description, copy and paste that code, and save yourself some money. Right, let's get started going through the rules. So here we go, we're on page 1 of the PDF, and this is going to give us our Intercession Squad team, tell us what operatives we can include, and the archetype at the top, first of all, tells us that this is security, seek and destroy, and this archetype will come into play later on in this PDF. There's going to be 6 operatives in the squad altogether, and you have to pick one Intercession Squad operative from this top section. You can choose either the Assault Intercessor Sergeant or the Intercessor Sergeant. This is going to be your leader for the kill team, and so this also decides whether you want someone who's more powerful up close or more at range, or a mix in between the two, and so you choose your war gear from this. So for the Assault Intercessor Sergeant, you're allowed to equip them with one option from each of the following. You can have a hand flamer or heavy pistol, a chainsword, power fist, power weapon or thunder hammer, or instead of that you can give them a plasma pistol with a chainsword. If you want your sergeant to be more of a shooting operative, then you can go for the Intercessor Sergeant option, and then with this your operative is equipped with one option from each of the following. You can choose the auto bolt rifle, the bolt rifle or the stalker bolt rifle, and then give them the chainsword, just basic fists, a power weapon or a thunder hammer. Now, as this Intercession Squad kill team isn't designed for one chapter in mind, you can design the operatives around your chapter and how they play. So for me it's the Imperial Fists, so I'll be going for an Intercessor Sergeant, and I'm going to give my Intercessor Sergeant a Stalker Bolt Rifle, an Auto Bolt Rifle or a regular Bolt Rifle. They're going to come with some different special rules and buffs, which we'll have a look at later, and then I'm also going to give them a Power Fist, and that's how I've built them, and so I think that's going to look quite cool and fit in with the chapter and how I play them. So if you're doing a chapter that's more involved in melee, maybe you're playing the Space War, something like that, you'll probably want to go for an Assault Intercessor Sergeant who wants to get in close and get stuck in with melee more than holding back and shooting. And that's the same for the 5 Intercession Squad operatives that you choose from either Assault Intercessor Warriors, Assault Intercessor Grenadier, an Intercessor Warrior or an Intercessor Gunner, and so you're going to choose from those to fit in with how your chapter plays and how you want to play them. So you can equip them with the following options. The Intercessor Warrior will have auto bolt rifle and fists, a bolt rifle and fists, or a stalker bolt rifle and fists, and then the Intercessor Gunner can have an auxiliary grenade launcher plus one of the following: the auto bolt rifle and fists, the bolt rifle and fists, and the stalker rifle and fists. And then it says, other than warrior operatives, your kill team can only include each operative above once. So for the Intercessor Gunner and the Assault Intercessor Grenadier, you're only going to be including one of those, and then the rest have to be regular warriors or assault warriors. This next section's come out weird, but in the PDF it's in white, so it stands out better. But this is about bolt weapons, and it simply says, some rules in this army list refer to a bolt weapon. A bolt weapon is a ranged weapon that includes bolt in its name, for example, stalker, bolt rifle, heavy bolt pistol, etc. So it might be good to play along with your chapter, or you could come up with something completely different and mix it up a bit. I mean, this is Kill Team, you can do whatever you like really, as long as you match the guidelines that they've set here. But I like to have it playing alongside the Imperial Fist, but I try and think I want to get 2 that can move up a little bit closer and get stuck in with melee, 2 that are going to be kind of in the middle, moving around a bit more, and then 2 that are hanging back with heavy weapons and not moving, so they're giving covering fire. So that's how I'm playing mine, and I'll explain it towards the end of the video. But when you want to choose these, it's really good to have an understanding of the data cards, so we're going to look at those later on too. But before we do that, we've got to look at the tacops. Here are the tacops that your intercession squad can use, and you can think of these like secondary objectives in Warhammer 40,000. Each tacops, like the shock and awe one here, will tell you when to reveal it during the game and then give you the conditions that apply to it. So you can use these as well as the regular tacops to gain victory points throughout the game. Now we've got abilities for our intercession squad, and this is all about chapter tactics. And as it says here, each chapter of Space Marines is a martial brotherhood with its own combat philosophies, suited to the unique skills and temperaments of its battle brothers. And so you can use these different abilities to really play in to the narrative and play style of your chosen chapter. When you create your roster or data slate, you'll select 2 abilities from the 4 listed below. So here's the first one. This is Martial Zealotry. So this is something you want to give if you like going up close and getting stuck in with melee action. So again, I think this would suit the Space Wolves. They're aggressive, so each time the operative fights in combat, in an activation in which it performed a charge action, its melee weapons gain the rending critical hit rule for that combat. You're also going to get the keyword dueler, and each time this operative fights in combat in the resolved successful hit step of that combat, each time it parries with a critical hit, you can select an additional normal hit of your opponent's to be discarded. Also rapid, you can add black to this operative's movement characteristic. Although we've only got 4 of these abilities to choose from, I think they're brilliant, and this is really nicely done. These 4 abilities and the combinations you can make with them, although there's not many combinations, really fit well with the idea of the Space Marines, and you can certainly match them to the different chapters. So I think they've done a great job with this. The next one is Tactical Evasion, so you're going to be a bit more stealthy, a bit more mobile, and so there's got some different abilities in there that are really going to suit things like the Raven Guard, but maybe it's even going to help with the White Scars if you want to play that kind of route. Although you can't use the bikes, you could still play that idea of them being raiders and then being very mobile. Then you've got Gene-Wrought Resilience. This is what I've chosen for my Imperial Fists. I want them to hold their ground, stand strong, and take the punishment as they deal it out across the battlefield. So that's a really good one if you want to be really strong and sturdy. I also chose this one, Discipline of Iron. It's going to give me some accuracy buffs, and it's also got this deadly sharpshooter ability that I liked. And here, for the bolt weapon that the operative is equipped with, you subtract 1 from its critical damage characteristic, which doesn't sound great, but you gain the Mortal Wound 1 critical hit rule. So you're guaranteed to deal that 1 point of damage if you get a critical hit. I like these abilities a lot, and I think if you play Space Marines in 40k, then this is going to be very second nature to you to incorporate it into a kill team of intercessors. And I think that's why this intercession squad is a good place to start if you haven't played kill team before. Combining this with those fewer miniatures, again, only taking 6 into battle, I think is really nice. When you compare that to, say, the Orc Commandos, where you've got like up to 12 models going in, and they've all got different abilities and things you've got to take account for. That's a lot of bookkeeping. Whereas with these, nice and simple, you've only got a few choices to make, but it really does sum up how they're going to play on the battlefield. Next, we've got our strategic ploys and tactical ploys. And if your faction is the intercession squad, then you can use the strategic and tactical ploys during the game. Each of these is going to come at a cost of 1 command point, and so it tells you exactly what's included. So for example here, the Devastator Doctrine, until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly intercession squad operative makes a shooting attack against an enemy operative, more than red from it in the roll attack dice step of that shooting attack, you can re-roll one of your attack dice, and you cannot use another doctrine strategic ploy in this turning point. So this is very much like 40k now. In round 1 or in turning point 1, we've got Devastator Doctrine. Then as we go into the next one, we've got Tactical Doctrine and then Assault Doctrine. So that's going to be very familiar if you play 40k. And then you've also got And They Shall Know No Fear, and with this, until the end of the turning point, you can ignore any or all modifiers to the APL of friendly squad operatives, and friendly squad operatives are also classed as not being injured anymore, so that's another one you can use. Now you're only allowed to use each of these once in each turning point, so although you can use the Devastator Doctrine in round 1, you won't be able to use Tactical Assault. You could still choose to use And They Shall Know No Fear, but you can only use them all once per turning point. I was going through an intro game at my local club, and I completely messed this up the other day. I just thought we could use the Tactical Ploys as many times as we wanted, and so I was playing against Necrons. They just kept getting up. They kept using that Tactical Ploy, kept standing up, getting good rolls, and yeah, hard to kill when they all keep popping up like that, and so I messed that up. So it's just one use per turning point for each strategic or tactical ploy. And let's have a look at an example of a tactical ploy. Let's go with Adaptive Tactics. You use this tactical ploy in the Select a Kill Team step. When selecting your kill team, you can change one of your chapter tactics abilities from page 3 to another from the same category, but you can only do this once per battle. So this is once per battle, which is even worse than once per turning point. So there we go. So when you build your roster or your data slate, you're going to choose the different abilities, but you can switch them depending on what happens with your enemy. So that's really nice. So that's a nice one. But things like transhuman physiology, angel of death, wrath of vengeance, all these terms, again, familiar if you like 40k, and it's going to make a lot of sense to you, I think. Now we're on to the data cards. So I'll go through the Assault Intercessor Sergeant's data card first, and we'll focus on that a little bit, and then you can use that as an example for all the others. We'll cover the others, but just quickly, but spend a little bit more time on this Intercessor Sergeant, the Assault version. So here we've got the physical profile. So we've got a movement of 3 white, an action point limit of 3, a group activation of 1, defense is 3, the save is 3+, and the wounds are 15. If you choose the Gene-Wrought Resilience ability from earlier, you can add 1 to that wounds characteristic, taking it up to 16, which I think is pretty good too. Then you've got the weapon profile. So you can see there's 2 different types. You've got like the crosshairs, which are your ranged weapons, and the melee weapons are the 2 swords. And so going by the choices we saw earlier on, you'll pick which weapons you want to give your operative, and then you've got all the different abilities and the special rules and critical hit rules associated with it as you work along the line. All these special rules and critical hit rules are included in the back of the core book, but also in that really nice 3-page light rules PDF that you can download for free. That's on the same article as the Intercessor rules, so you can download that as well. I think that's been written really nicely, definite improvement on the main book, and I think that's a really good place to start with as well, and it's got that handy reference with all the special rules and critical hit rules too. One thing I like about these intercessors is they don't have many abilities, but the one they have is awesome. If you choose the Assault Intercessor Sergeant, he's got the Shock Assault ability, and that means that the operative can perform 2 fight actions during its activation. So that's really nice. Instead of just using the fight action once, he can now do it twice, and that's a huge bonus when you're going up against some models who've only got an APL of 2. You've got an APL of 3, and out of those 3 you can spend 2 of them to do 2 fight actions. So that's really nice, whereas most of your enemies are only going to be able to fight once. Here's the next one. This is the Intercessor Sergeant. So this is the one that's going to be more at range. You've got the physical profile up here. It's exactly the same, but the weapons have changed. You've got that auto bolt rifle, and stalker bolt rifle to choose from. And check out the ability, Bolter Discipline. This operative can now perform 2 shoot actions during its activation if a bolt weapon is selected for at least one of those shooting attacks. So that's awesome, and this is going to come into effect later on when we look at the gunner, because he's got those 2 different ranged weapons. The next operatives are the Assault Intercessor Warrior and Grenadier. So here we go, here's the Assault Intercessor Warrior, super simple. You've got the physical profile, which is nice, But look at that, only 2 weapons, so that's really easy. You're not messing around at all, really quick and easy to get started, and they come with the Shock Assault ability. Then there's the Assault Intercessor Grenadier, and so he's going to have a heavy bolt pistol chainsword. He's got this extra ability as we'll work our way down there, and that means the operative is equipped with a frag and crack grenades, and they do not cost any equipment points, so you can use those during the game now too. Usually you have to use equipment points or spend equipment points to get things like this, and we'll have a look at them as we get to page 8 later on so you can see how they work in the game. Next are the Intercessor Warrior and Intercessor Gunner, and these are the ones I've included in my kill team. Here we've got the Warrior. Again, those physical profiles are going to be very similar. Then you've got the weapons. You've got 3 rifles to choose from, and they're going to come with fists as they're only close combat. And then you've got the ability Bolter Discipline. For the Intercessor Gunner, physical profile, that's going to stay the same, but we've got a bit more to do with the weapons now. We can choose a rifle for them, but they also get the auxiliary grenade launcher, so they get 2 weapons, so this is really nice. And they get the Bolter Discipline ability too. So if you wanted to shoot twice with them, you could choose to shoot the bolt weapon twice, or shoot that once and the grenade launcher once, but you can't shoot the grenade launcher twice. So that's the only condition, but you can still make 2 shoot actions, which I think is brilliant. Now we're on to equipment, and if you're playing a basic game, you don't even need to worry about this. But if you're using it and playing a proper game, then in the mission sequence of your chosen game style, it's going to tell you when to use it. And any equipment that you can see that's marked with a plus symbol can be selected a maximum of once, and each operative can be equipped with no more than 1 of each item. So here we've got some of the equipment listed, and you can see the Reclusium Blessed Bolts have got the plus symbol next to them, so that can only be selected a maximum of once, and you've got all the others. Some are going to cost you an AP, so for example, Auspex is 2 EP, so 2 equipment points, and then the operative will be able to perform the following action during the battle, and that's the Auspex Scan action. For 1 action point, you'll select 1 enemy operative visible to or within red of this operative, and then until the end of the turning point, that operative is not obscured. The enemy operative, is not obscured, and defense dice cannot be automatically retained as a result of cover for that enemy operative. And this operative cannot perform this action while within engagement range of an enemy operative. So that's nice if you want to take that along. We've also got some weapons we can choose, and it comes with the weapon stats as well, like the combat blade there, tells you exactly how to use it. But here's the frag grenade and crack grenade that your grenadier can take along. So it's got all the rules there. It's got the number of attacks, the ballistic skill, the damage, and the special rules. For example, with frag, it's range, blast, indirect, and limited. And exactly the same for crack grenade, actually. So the cracks are a bit heavier hitting. They would usually cost you more equipment points, but because you don't have to pay the price for them by taking that grenadier, you're going to get them for free, which is brilliant. The rest of the rules now in this PDF are spec op rules, and so you're only going to use these in your campaigns. And so the first one to look at is battle honours, and each time an intercession squad operative gains a battle honour, instead of determining one from its specialism, you can determine one from this intercession squad specialist table below. And again, this is building in more to the narrative and play style of the different chapters of the Space Marines. Now you can pick one if you want, or you can roll a d6 to have one selected randomly. Next up, we've got rare equipment, and each time you would determine an item of rare equipment to add to your stash, and again, this comes into the campaign rules from the core book. If your faction is Intercession Squad, you can determine one from the table below instead of determine one from another source. Choose or roll the dice again. So you've got a nice selection of rare equipment to choose from here that really fits in with the Space Marines more than the standard in the core book. Next up are strategic assets, and each time you would add a strategic asset to your base of operations. If your faction is an intercession squad, you can select one from the list below instead of going to another source again. And as with any strategic asset, it tells us here you can never have more than one of each. And again, these are going to fit in better with the Space Marines. Requisitions next, and if you're just playing basic games, you don't need to worry about any of these spec op rules, but let's have a look at them anyway. Here we've got the requisitions, and in a spec ops campaign, if your faction is Intercession Squad, you can use the following requisitions in addition to those in other sources. So you've got 3 to choose from, each one will cost you 1 RP. Now we're on to spec ops, and each time you select a spec op for your kill team to be assigned to, you can select one from the following pages again instead of going to another source. So these two are going to tie in with the Space Marines, and the first one is called Defenders of Humanity. And for all this, just refer to the core book and the rules there, and also watch my videos I've done on the How to Play series where I explain all this in more detail. So you can choose between Defenders of Humanity there and the second one, Mankind's Vengeance. So that's all the rules, a brilliant PDF, and I think a great way to start playing Kill Team if you haven't tried it before. And certainly if you've got an army already, like I got the Imperial Fist 1000-point army, I can just take the models from there and get stuck in and play straight away. But I'm also going to build another Kill Team from scratch using a box of Intercessors. So if you haven't got an army already, this might be interesting to you. I've ordered a box of 10 miniatures, the Primaris Intercessors, and also the Primaris upgrades for the Imperial Fist. This is going to give me 10 models, so I can have a 10-man unit for 40k, but I'm going to take 6 of these and make them specifically for Kill Team. Now these are going to be focused on shooting. If you want more up-close personal ones that get stuck in with melee, you'll want the Assault Intercessor box, but this one, the regular Intercessor Primaris Marines, comes with all the different bolt rifles, and it's even got that grenade launcher on one of them, as you can see in the picture here. How cool is that? Stuck underneath the bolt rifle. I love it, and you can put that on any of the 3 different bolt rifles too, so it will go underneath, so that's really nice. You're going to get 2 in that set as well. And then from the other weapons, you can see you've got the different variations. One's actually loading a magazine, which looks really great. The box will give you 2 sprues, and you'll get 2 of each. And then you can see here are the 2 sprues, so the different ones. And then this one's the one that I'm focusing on because it's got the different attachments for the different bolt rifles. So you can see the 2 different ones there, 5 on each sprue. And then down here, we've got the Stalker ones. They're going to be the Assault ones in 40k. And then you've got this one, the Shotgun. So love that. And if you're looking at somewhere to get them, why not try out Firestorm Games with those links I talked about earlier. I'll be building my Sergeant much like this guy here, but I'm also thinking I'll take the regular Intercessor troops and I'm just going to kit bash them with some of the bolt sniper rifles from my Eliminators, and then just proxy those weapons as the heavy long distance bolt rifles, because I think that's going to look awesome and give the idea that they're the snipers at the back of the battlefield covering their fellow operatives. And of course, if you wanted to mix it up, you could have some Assault Intercessors and the Primaris Intercessors. But I'm going full-on shooting with mine, I think. Just have that Power Fist to get up close and really focus on shooting and the 3 different levels. Some that are a bit more active with the movement, then some in the midfield, and then more further back with the heavy weapons. I hope this video has been helpful. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've got to say, these Intercession Squad Kill Team rules alongside the free 3-page PDF light rules have really got me back into Kill Team in a big way, and I'm so happy they've done this before the release of Into the Dark, because the setting is such a cool setting for this game, and I've been playing it a good few weeks now and really getting back into it with the official rules and really enjoying it as well. So I hope that this helps you do the same thing. So thanks so much for watching again. If you liked it, please hit the like button, subscribe for more videos like this one, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to join me here next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'd like to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters who make these daily videos possible, and if you're interested in joining the community, it'd be awesome to see you there, and I'll put a link for that in the description down below.